when the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Welcome to the best soccer show, the best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go! It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis, Jared Dubois, he's got a pool. We're live on a Sunday night,
Giving out
smack
people
dab
information.
between Nations League games. Jared, it's the Nations League. It's the most exciting competition to hit soccer since, I don't know, the U.S. Cup. Remember the U.S. Cup?
I was more excited to watch the Soccer Aid benefit in England.
They did that this week?
Yeah.
Oh, here's the thing I know about Jared Dubois.
What?
Are you missing something that would normally be on your schedule to do this soccer program tonight?
No, what's tonight?
No? Is
Is
tonight
the
not
Academy Awards tonight?
the Tonys? Aren't you a Tonys guy too?
No,
Don't you
I'm
do
not
the
a
Tonys?
Tony's guy. Well, I mean,
Okay.
I don't know enough Broadway, like current
I didn't.
Broadways.
You,
I catch it
you
after
seem
the
to
fact
enjoy
usually.
the exercise of award shows, is what I,
do.
get from you.
I enjoy pomp and
Okay.
circumstance. I enjoy medleys, which is often a lot of medleys.
Yes, I know.
I
know
enjoy
you-
gentlemen being slapped. There's a lot of things I like about award shows.
You like people screaming about "Don't you get my wife's name out your mouth."
I mean, there is. If you tell me that Neil Patrick Harris is hosting something, I probably want to watch it, no matter what award show it is. I
This
don't
is
know if
why
he's
I
doing
brought
it
this
year,
up.
though.
To be honest with you, I didn't know that it was Tony's night until I saw a TikTok today. I don't know how I ended up on this particular side of TikTok, but you know what it is. It was a guy retelling the story of the 2013 Tony Awards when Neil Patrick Harris opened up. The show opened up with this insane logistical nightmare of an opening piece that was just like there were hundreds of people involved in this particular. I mean, I'm talking about on stage. There was magic tricks, and he sang medley from every major show of that year and all this stuff, and it made me think of Jared Dubois. That's what when I saw Neil Patrick Harris, I thought of you. Is how our relationship works.
Because
Here.
do you have do I have some Barney-ness to me? I got some Doogie-ness to me. What is it?
Are you a doogie? I get maybe. I just think that you appreciate things like what Neil Patrick Harris knows.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
I enjoy pageantry.
I think that's what it is. You like pageantry.
I don't like
Now-
pageants.
Okay, well, I think pageants are one of the most uncomfortable things you can possibly watch. I don't understand how people like watching like a Miss America or whatever. And my wife always gets involved in Miss Universe because Puerto Rico is always a contender. And it's like, yeah, that's great, but I don't want to watch them awkwardly answer a question about global hunger. Thank you very much. And I don't want to see them strutting around in a bikini. It makes me uncomfortable as a modern man. I don't know. It just does. I mean, I'm not saying I don't appreciate the form. I'm just saying in that format, in that situation, it's like, I don't know. I'm into that. I have a question for you, though. This is a very important one. Before we get to Jesus Ferreira scoring 4 goals and the U.S. beating Grenada and getting ready for El Salvador on Tuesday and all the pomp and circumstance of the Nations League, I put this on my TikTok, which I do have a TikTok. I put this on my TikTok. I've said it
How
on the
Gen Z
radio
of you.
show. I mentioned it on the radio show, but I want to bring it to you because I think if anybody can help me,
WNBC.
it might be you.
WNBC.
So I live in a fairly idyllic little neighborhood, a pocket inside of the Beltway in Northern Virginia. It's like I'm not,
Whitey town.
No, my neighborhood is actually part of the reason we live here is because my neighborhood's super diverse, and we didn't want to live in the white suburbs of Northern Virginia.
Good,
for lack
good
of a
on
better way
you.
of describing it. My kid is learning Spanish. My wife is from Puerto Rico. There's no reason for us to go and isolate ourselves even further from culture, for lack of a better way of describing it. Not that white people don't have culture, right?
I haven't seen any.
Anyway, sitting by the pool and smoking some meat, I think that's pretty much. It's the anyway. Okay.
Oh, I thought
so-
you were smoking some meat. Now all of a sudden I
No,
was
I'm
interested.
not. I'm not. So I was sitting outside, and I don't know, with Tiago in the front yard or something. And there's lots of people that walk by the house every day because it's that kind of neighborhood. Dogs and people, kids, and all that stuff.
Howdy ho, neighbor.
And, well, that's the thing. Like, you don't wave to everybody. And there are two sides of the street, right? So people who walk by directly by my house might get a wave or hello for outside. People on the other side, you don't across
That's a bridge
the street
too
go,
far. That's a bridge too far
Hey,
over there.
are you having a nice walk over there? Like, you don't do that, right? So I'm sitting there and I see this guy, and he's got a little girl on a tricycle, and she's pedaling away, and he's following her the way the parents do when they get
across
to
the street, outside the hello zone. Okay,
outside of the immediate hello zone. I would have to get his attention rather than him sort of naturally noticing me. Okay, that's the important part of this. And he's wearing a Harry Kane shirt.
Oh, so now you're pulled like gravity.
Now I'm like, okay, that's a soccer guy. There's a soccer guy in my neighborhood. Now there's probably lots of soccer guys in my neighborhood, but I don't know that they're soccer guys, right? We don't walk around wearing, or soccer people. Could be girls too.
It's possible he's just a fan of Raising Canes, and it's the closest thing he could find to wear.
It's possible he likes tall English gentlemen for no reason. Yeah, sure, lots of things that he could like. But I'm presuming he's either a Spurs fan, a Harry Kane fan, or just a general soccer fan who has a collection of shirts. Look, I'm wearing a San Diego Loyal shirt. I'm not a San Diego Loyal fan. I just happen to have the shirt. And I'm thinking, if I want to make friends with this person because he is a soccer fan and clearly lives in my neighborhood, like walkable distance from my house.
Yes.
What's my move, Jared?
And is his daughter Tiago's age?
She's older than Tiago because she's pedaling a tricycle.
Okay, so potential friend down the road. Okay.
Potentially, yes.
So
yes.
what is you're asking me what you actually did? Is that what you're asking me?
No, I didn't do anything.
So now you have to wait for another meet cute?
Yeah, I guess. So if I see him again, and here's my problem. I'm going to have to presume that any guy following a girl on a tricycle is this guy because I didn't take note of his appearance enough across the street to be like, that's the guy. So unless he's wearing a soccer jersey, I have to take a risk on this. But what's the move? Like, seriously, what's the move?
Here's the move. I'm going to give you a move.
Okay, what's the move?
This is the weekend? During the week.
I think it was during the week.
Is it possible it was your trash day? Because here's the thing. If it's your trash day, that's the moment you happen to take the cans out to the street, and now you shorten the distance to the hello zone.
I'm pretty wide, almost boulevard-like streets in my neighborhood. Is there like 20 feet, 25 feet, 30 feet? Like what? Or is it if I'm just kind of rolling it up, he might look because I'm making noise, and that's when I say, hey, buddy.
Okay, and here's the thing. Like the way I would approach it is a high risk, high reward. Because I'd be like, good luck on the day after Thanksgiving, and just see if he knows what that means, and then I could totally ruin it.
Well, you're presuming he's an England fan, which I don't know that
that's wearing the damn shirt.
No, he's wearing I'm sorry. He's wearing a Spurs jersey, not an England jersey.
Oh, okay. I'm assuming it's an England jersey.
I left that detail out. My apologies. Somebody on TikTok, somebody said I should yell, Spurs suck, mate, and see what he does, which I think is bad.
I think
it's
house egged.
Well, what about singing a song of? I don't like Spurs. I'm not a Spurs fan. What am I going to sing? Like he's. What if somebody said he's one of ours? Is a Spurs song? Come on, you. I'm just going to yell out. Come on, you Spurs!
You could do something like this, like, hey,
you know what? I
Harry Kane, except when he's playing the U.S. in November.
I just remember what I should do. Oh, he got sold. He's no longer. Yeah, I should yell out like, hey. Why did your club sell CONCACAF? Why did you do that? I should do that, right? That's the move.
He's gonna be like, who?
That's not how you say it.
We have that. No, he's like, we have that guy on our team sheet, like somewhere in our payroll.
Probably didn't know, right?
I mean, that's like going up to a Chelsea fan and say, hey, what happened with that Miazga kid? Who?
Well, it's a little different. I mean, at least Cameron Carter-Vickers
made something of himself.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just curious.
But what if he pops off with the English? Okay, what if you did the Kamikaze like it to him, and then he pops off with the English accent?
Oh,
and then you're like, ooh,
I've offended him.
Awkward.
Oh, did I have to explain that it's an inside joke where we butcher Cameron Carter-Vickers'
name? Then you have to say like, I have a radio show. And you have to get no one's there to play the drop.
That's right. Now I have a big problem explaining myself. It's possible he could be English. You're right. I live in.
I hope you make a friend in your neighborhood. How you're going to do it? I mean, maybe next time he'll be wearing what's another jersey that he could be wearing that would give you a more natural in than Harry Kane? Like
if he wears a U.S. men's national team jersey, then I'll feel more comfortable.
He's got a bomb pop. That could be a homie.
I mean, it doesn't matter. Any U.S. men's national team jersey,
Waldo?
I'm going to be like, yo. Yeah, it doesn't matter. It literally doesn't matter which one he's wearing.
But you're going to judge him based on which one he has on.
No, that's not true. I don't think so. I was looking at a graphic. It was up recently on some social media
seen the
account.
graphic of the leaked ones maybe for this.
I'm not worried about that right now. Yeah, we'll cross that terrible bridge when we get to it. We'll cross that turd-filled bridge when we get to it.
You know that jersey looks like when you go to a boat launch in the water and it has like that rainbow film on top of blue. Like
because of the
diesel,
gasoline?
Yeah, 2-stroke oil, like on the top of the jersey.
Is that what it looks like?
Just ugly.
That's probably a cooler look. I mean, I know it's pollution, but anyway, what I was going to say is I saw a graphic of every U.S. men's national team jersey between, I guess, 94 and now. I don't think it went back before the denim kit. And man, there are some decent ones in there. There are a lot of trash shirts in that mix, just a lot. And I could go buy some jerseys to fill my collection, but at this point, it's like, do I want to go back to the past and buy something that's better when I'm disappointed what's happening? I don't know.
see you paying money for any jersey.
That's not true. That's not
I like
true.
this from William Stevenson, though, in the chat. And he says, play chess, walk out with the Arsenal jersey on. And then his next thing says, your move, sir.
That's actually not a bad idea. To come out in an Arsenal shirt and see what happens.
Well, you can get one now from Turner somehow, right? That's your boy. I heard you had him on your show.
Oh, is this the thing about I never pay for a jersey? I can get it hooked up?
Yeah, surely Matt Turner's going to hook you up with the Arsenal jersey. It's going to be a keeper one, but, I mean, long sleeves. And
No, not
you live
well.
on
I
the
mean,
East Coast.
he might have access to the field player jerseys. He might. Speaking of Matt Turner, the U.S. men's national team. Obviously, we're here to talk about the game, the win over Grenada. It was a slow build-up, Jared, and then things exploded. Jesus Ferreira scores 4 times, and here is the big question: does it matter that Jesus Ferreira scored 4 times against Grenada?
Yeah, it matters. Of course it does. Because if he hadn't scored... Oh, go ahead.
What's the line? This is what I need to know. So 1 goal, whatever. 2 goals, okay, that's not bad, but you still got a lot of work to do. A hat trick, yep, okay, you're making some. Is 4 like, okay, that's a terrible team, the 170th ranked team in the world that you just beat. You scored 4 times on them, but we're gonna give you at least some, real belief now that you put the ball in the net 4 times.
I think 4, the number he put in, separates himself from just getting a goal or 2 against the likes of Grenada. You put up 4. That means you put your stamp on the game, and you stood out. And for a guy who needed a goal, and I think even if he just had 1 goal, we would have been like, oh, cool, he got a goal. That would make us feel good about it. 4, you're feeling pretty good about it. I mean, if you're watching the game, though, he should have had 6 or 7. I mean, legitimately, it could have been upwards in that range. If you're Haji Wright, now I don't know if you were doing this, but when I was watching, when Ferreira scored and all the players ran down, guess who I was looking for? I wanted to see the look on Haji Wright's face because are you really happy for your homie in that moment?
I think you have to be. I don't think. I don't get the sense that there's anybody in the group, even a new guy like Haji Wright, who's going to be like, no, that's bad for me that you did something good for the team. Like, I think that these guys are in it together. Reggie Cannon and Kellen Acosta were talking about being, frenemies. They get along, they have a thing, but obviously they know, like, it's possible one can make the roster and the other one's out. Like, they're competing and
if you're Haji Wright, are you a little pissy with Greg that he gave you the El Salvador game and he got the Grenada game? Which one's the striker going to get off on?
I don't know if you should say it that way. I think you should be careful about how you phrase things. My personal opinion. But I think Grenada, I think if you're Haji Wright, if you believe in your ability to score goals, you want El Salvador.
You want to shoot your shot on Grenada.
No, I think you want El Salvador.
Oh, okay.
Because
you really?
Yes, I think you want the tougher. It's not the most impossible job.
You're telling me, okay? Does Haji Wright want 1 goal against El Salvador, or does he want 4 goals against Grenada?
I think, man, that's a good question. So let's just turn this into a flat out ask, and we'll ask the besties.
JTT's got a little stats right here for us too. JTT coming with the stats. He says Ferreira shot 4 out of 10. 4 out of 10.
Okay. That's 4. That's 4 he scored. Were those the only shots on goal out of the 10, or did he just convert?
Yeah, he made 4 out of his 10 shots. I think.
No, I understand that, but what I'm saying is, were some of those other 10 on goal and saved, or did he just miss the goal 6 times? That's what I need to know. I don't remember. Let's ask everybody in the chat. Jesus Ferreira scores 4 goals against Grenada. Haji Wright scores 1 goal against El Salvador. Which one matters more to you? That's what I need to know.
Yeah,
which one matters more?
If you're going purely by goals, me personally, I want to see the dude score 4 times. That's really, really kind of impressive.
This is the Terrence Boyd line of thinking from Jared Dubois. That's what this is.
But the honest answer is one that's more complicated than we're giving to the chat right now, is that it really depends about everything they do over 90 minutes and watching how they move within the team.
Yes,
that's the actual answer.
Right,
but
I think
now the U.S. has been at such a dearth for goals from strikers. Goals matter.
No, absolutely, goals matter. And like we talked about, clearly Greg Berhalter wanted Ferreira to get off against Grenada. I'm sorry, why did I just take your phrasing? I shouldn't do that. Clearly he wanted Jesus Ferreira to find the back of the net because I think he's trying to build the confidence, recognizing, and this is where the trump card lies with Ferreira, that he's the player who works best in the system as currently constructed with the players that Berhalter has on the field elsewhere. So Ferreira already is the choice without putting the ball in the net if nobody's putting the ball in the net. Do you know what I'm saying? But if he's scoring, then it makes it easier for Berhalter to just bestow the first choice striker job to Jesus Ferreira. Yeah?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jesus Ferreira did a long way. Because here's the thing. When you're watching the game, you can tell that Jesus Ferreira, many games, not just this one, when you watch him in the lineup for the U.S. men's national team, you can tell that he's the guy that gets what Berhalter is trying to do. The only thing that's been missing is goals. So if you get that guy out... If you can get that guy going on with a couple of goals, now you get to see if it all comes together. Now what can Haji Wright really do to displace Jesus Ferreira?
This is the thing. We're talking about this all wrong. Haji Wright is not competing with Jesus Ferreira. He's not. He's competing for a spot on the roster among a trio or a quartet of strikers. That's what Haji Wright's doing.
He's competing against Ricardo Pepi, to be honest with you.
He's competing against Ricardo Pepi. He's competing against Jordan Pifak. He's competing
DK,
against...
if he was there,
yeah, sure.
Sargent.
If he was there. No, and probably not DK, because I don't think there's any way you can get enough book on DK, even if he scores a bunch of goals for West Brom. So that's who I think he is competing with. Again, the whole thing is just frustrating because... the 5-6 months, only 3 more matches before the World Cup, and it's kind of like, okay, well, I guess we go with Jesus. And by the way, the thing, and I was going back and forth with somebody on Twitter, I can't remember who it was, about the lineup and how you switch things around and maybe who's available. And if Giovanni Reyna gets healthy, I mean, we talked about it, right? If Gio is healthy, does he push his way on the field? Brendan Aronson, did I create a drop for Brendan? I can't remember. Brendan Aronson also might push his way onto the field. He looks indispensable, but you don't have room for all those players if you're also playing McKennie and
Brendan
Musa.
Aronson's drop be AA Ron?
It could be AA Ron. I feel like I had something for him.
AA Ron. Morgan got really excited when I just let you know. She sat up straight and I started typing. We'll see what it is. But I kind of like the AA Ron.
Okay. All right. Anyway, so that, look, this is all about what I was going to say is when those players aren't all going to be healthy. Like, we can imagine a world in which they are to conceive of what our first 11 would look like, but the chances that all of them are healthy and available and in good form when we get to the World Cup are essentially zero. So it's almost kind of a pointless exercise.
Yeah, but you want a couple of strikers to be up and ready. And if Haji Wright can do it as well, there's spots open. I'm really excited to see the El Salvador game because you're playing, as I can't remember, one of the people in the chat just said, it's going to be pretty close to an A squad that's going to go up against the El Salvador team. And to see Haji Wright play in that might actually be Berhalter giving him a bigger stage. I mean, like, the easier stage was the Grenada game. That's the one's going to get some goals in, but it's the bigger stage against El Salvador.
Okay, so AA Ron can make it in here. I know I'm going back to this. AA Ron can make it in here, but I'm pretty sure that JTT, Jonathan Taylor Tannenwald, has it right that I picked out the AT music specifically for Brendan Aronson because he's BA, right?
Okay,
he's
but
badass.
here's the thing.
BA Baracus.
I'm trying... You're talking about you got TikToks and all this stuff. Why are you going back to the 80s, man? AA Ron's like in the last 10 years.
It's not. It's probably older than that.
Key and Peele can't be older than 10 years, is it?
Somebody look up how old AA Ron is. No, I do get your point, though. It's slightly more recent. It's
you and I love it.
It's little. It's this much less than 10 years. October of 2012.
Got it. Got it.
All right. My other question here. Very important question. About Jesus Ferreira dropping 4. And, my dad joke was Ferreira, and then U.S. Soccer did it, and FC Dallas did it. Various different spellings happening, but Ferreira. Oh, so what is 4 goals called? I'm sure there's a soccer. Is there a soccer name I don't know? What is 4 goals called? I feel like
a bunch. I don't know.
A quad?
A ball bag?
How do you feel about that? What about a boat? I don't know why. It just sounds like something that might be called a boat for some reason.
So, for me as a poker player, I think of that as a full house, but maybe
no,
that's,
I know, but I understand that, and I know that's not exactly the numbers don't work with that 3 and 2, but 4 is a lot. It's a boat, right?
Someone calls it. 2 people have said double brace in the chat at the same time, so I guess it exists.
Feels like that undersells it though. Double brace.
Double brace sounds like Forrest Gump when he was like running behind the bus and all the braces started coming off.
You had some corrective braces on your legs because you were pigeon-toed as a kid. That's a double brace. Like, oh, that you know Johnny down the street. He had that double brace when he was a kid.
Steve
That Johnny.
Hildaga's got it. A foray.
Ooh, a foray.
Not to be confused with a four-way.
Don't say it.
You just don't want to have a lisp when you say that word.
Okay, so whatever it's called, he got it, and the United States wins the game 5-0. And I guess good for Paul Arriola to get one too. I mean, I think that we thought of that game as more of an exercise in, down the roster a little bit. It's a game. Look, you're supposed to win it because the Nations League.
Berhalter can put out a B squad and still win that game.
So if we go through this, and I know we're a couple days removed, and again, Grenada was Grenada. Did anybody stand out for you outside of Jesus Ferreira?
Oh, I mean, he wasn't even the best man of the match for me.
All right, go for it. That's what I'm telling you. Say
Luca
it.
De La Torre put on a clinic in that game.
I just had a thought. Is it on here? I don't have it on here
We
anymore.
need to switch.
Okay, continue.
We need to switch a drop that used to be for an older player. Is that what you're thinking right now?
Yes.
It has been inherited by a new player.
No, the problem is I don't think I have it on the board. I can't see it right now. It's not here.
Because
but I know what you're talking about.
There's not a better smooth operator in the new generation of U.S. national team players than Luca De La Torre. That guy is so silky smooth when he has the ball at his feet. On the half turn, so clean, in space, simple transitional passes. I can't tell you how big of a deal that is. He is Sebastian Lletget, what Gregory Berhalter wanted Sebastian Lletget to be. A guy that can play on the half turn and plays it forward. That's why Berhalter had Sebastian Lletget for so long in the team, is because he could do some transitional passing, but it wasn't directional. It wasn't going forward, and he couldn't run with the ball at his feet. Luca De La Torre is doing all those things, and he is so good with it. I don't know. We have a little bit of embarrassment of riches at midfield when you think about it, and the fact that Luca De La Torre is probably not going to have a starting spot on this team. Brendan Aronson may not have a starting spot on this team, and Gio Reyna's not even back.
No. That's again. This is my point about we don't know who's going to be available. If we just go into Dream World and presume everybody is healthy, Luca De La Torre is on the bench. Probably Brendan Aronson is on the bench. Probably Gio Reyna is on the bench, which is insane. And again, Reyna may be a forward depending on the situation.
It just depends also when he can get back to the team.
It's insane. It is. It's absolutely ridiculous.
But what you're seeing is the same thing we were talking about with Striker, though. It's not necessarily that they are in a battle against each other. You're looking for like components if you have to, because like we said, you're not going to see MMA midfield for 3 straight games in the first round of the World Cup. It's unlikely. I'll say this, it's unlikely that you'll see those 3 guys start all 3 games. Someone's going to get yellow card issues. Someone's going to get fatigue or an injury. And it's just a lot of minutes to put on a lot of players. Now, granted, they're young. They can play a lot of minutes. But Berhalter's also shown a propensity to match make. Like who you want to play versus certain teams. And if you're going to play a possessions-oriented offense, wouldn't you rather have Luca De La Torre in it? In a possession-based offense where you think that you're going to have more of the ball versus a counterattack when you want that Musa in there or something like that. There's certain... It depends what teams you're going to play. You're hitting some background noise, aren't you?
Yeah, something's going on back there. That usually doesn't happen, so I'm very confused what's going on. But there is... I mean, it's a good problem to have, right? But it's still a problem, and there are going to be tough decisions to be made. Now, we still don't know. I just want to put this out there. As far as I'm aware, we still don't know if it's going to be a 23-man or a 26-man roster. Now, I know you've been working on the presumption it's 23 as usual, but I think it's very possible that FIFA goes with 26.
Well, they just. It looks like they're about to finalize the 5 substitution rule, which your boy said how long ago? 2 years ago. Your boy said it right here.
I think a lot of people thought that
get out of here.
What? I didn't say it. I wasn't with you on that. You can't just believe I supported you and had the same opinion. You're 100% sure that you were the only one who said that.
I'm sure that's one of the many fences you chose to sit on.
Well, excuse me. That's not even how it works. All right, let's go to the Frank. Let's go. Jared is in a mood right now. Let's take his shots.
I'm in a mood.
Frank and the
My eyes watering. I got sunscreen in it. I can't see.
Laying by his pool. That's why.
I think it's that IE heat that's going
Dude.
It's affecting Jared thinking right now.
Yeah, you guys are cooking, right?
Up there.
What was that, Frank?
Isn't it like 100 degrees right now in the IE?
Oh, yeah, it was over 100 today, and I was chilling on my chaise long and chilling by the pool.
A what? You were chilling on your what?
See, you don't even listen to Wet Leg, man. This is the best album that's come out in the last 2 months. You're not even listening to it.
Okay, so I see. So it's a joke about. Okay, go ahead. I don't get your weird music, so that's fine. Go, Frank, what do you got? What else you got?
No, I just want to comment about Haji Wright. Okay, and listen, I haven't had time to watch any of the most recent games, so I'm not sure what's going on. But is it? And this is gonna sound a little off, but it rubs me the wrong way when that Haji Wright might have a shot at a World Cup spot when he didn't even help make the team. Help them qualify.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, Frank. Doesn't matter.
I'm in the minority. I know. I'm in the minority, and I can admit it. Okay. But I just want to put it out there. I'm not okay with it.
But Frank, just per your rationale, can I make a point before you move on to your next point, Frank? Per your rationale,
sure.
A young Landon Donovan and DeMarcus Beasley should not have been on the 2002 World Cup team because they hit the scene on the Gold Cup leading up to it after qualification was already secured. So be careful what you wish for, sir.
I'll take that.
Okay, second point. Go ahead.
Nah, I'm kidding. No, I mean that's just my thing. Second thing. Actually, never mind. Forget it. I'll just,
his girls asking him to get off the phone, Jared. His girls calling. All right, Frank.
Well, she is right here next to me, but but yeah, just
shout out.
But, okay,
shout out.
No, screw it. So remember, I forgot what the game was when Pulisic made that comment about the fans
after Morocco,
and I didn't listen to that game, and I just wanted to tell Jason he shouldn't have focused too much on that because I didn't watch it, and I tuned into his show to find out what the stats.
Wait, whoa! What is up with people taking shots at the soccer show today?
You did on this show. You jumped on it right away. Like that's kind of pedantic. I remember you saying that like that.
Did I say pedantic?
Yes, you said the word pedantic.
It's a word people use sometimes. Pedantic. I'm going to let Frank go. I'm not mad at you, Frank. Well, actually, kind of mad at you. But we'll make up later.
My man's got to fill 3 hours of talk time. What do you want him to do? Not talk about it?
Look. Okay. First of all, if you want really me to pull back the curtain on the radio show for a second, the thing about that is, it's not that I pushed it and like nobody wanted to talk about it and I was trying to make it a thing. At the second what am I supposed to do? Not mention it? It seems dumb not to mention. It seems weird. Like, oh, you avoiding that comment? And then I say, hold on. Then I talk about the comment and the phone lines light up because everybody wants to talk about the comment. So
my man knows where his bread's buttered. He knows where his bread's buttered.
But I also think that you just feel that. I mean, I could certainly say no. We're not taking those calls. It's not to be a dick. It's my show.
What's Howard Stern going to do? Not play prank calls?
What did you say?
What's Howard Stern going to do? Not play prank calls? You got to know what your audience wants.
For a second, I thought you said Soccer Stern, like you were calling me Soccer Stern.
That's even better.
No, people wanted to talk about that. So sorry that you listened to a radio show you didn't like, Frank.
Jesus! Way to take it. Oh, wait. Let me turn around. Let me take the knife out of your back for you.
I'm just kidding. It's all good. Like I also knew that wasn't going to be for everybody. Let's move on because I don't want to make it any more of a thing on this show. It doesn't need to be, right? We're valid.
I think most people have arrived at he meant American fans, like U.S. men's national team fans. I think he unfortunately said it a way that left it open to interpretation. That's how I took it. I don't know. I think some people may just want a little bit bigger of an issue out of it, but I think it's just that's the way it was. That's me personally, though.
Yeah, no, I don't. Again, we're not relitigating that. The team has moved on. They're not playing again in the United States until 2023.
Nick's really happy with the term Soccer Stern, just so you know.
I know he's also a fan. So let's talk about El Salvador, I guess, at this point, right? Like, what do you want to see now after what you saw against Grenada? After Jesus Ferreira dropped 4, you don't need to see him again, at least not from the start, right? Haji Wright's going to start against El Salvador. Midfield is an issue.
El Salvador was tough for us in qualifying, and I think we want to probably see if they can continue to have that strong run of form. I want to see the U.S. break down a low block. I think that's something they're going to see some of. I think that's one of the areas that a striker not in form has hurt us. as a guy that's dangerous, that has to occupy both center backs. I think our center backs I've seen our forwards have allowed center backs to sometimes man mark and be able to be available to come out wide and slow down the Weahs and the Pulisic's and double team in the corners. So maybe if there's something can go right and Haji Wright can get an early goal or something like that, that opens up a little bit. But that's one of the things I'm interested to see is how do they break down a low block? And also what I'm interested to see is in a first choice 11, does Berhalter see Brendan Aronson in it?
How's that? So you believe we're going to go back to what is close to a first choice 11, but with Haji instead of Jesus Ferreira? That's what
I
you think.
do, and Horvath. I think there's potential to see a first choice midfield and
Why do we need to
setup.
see Horvath? I mean, I'm not
Well,
saying
he
he's
said
not-
he's happening. Yeah, he's already
Oh,
called
is
that
that what he
it's
said?
happening.
Okay.
Yeah, he
All
said
right. I
Haji
missed
Wright
him
and
with that one.
Horvath are the two automatic starts that he's doing with the rotation. But Christian Pulisic away didn't feature last game, so I think you can assume they're going to be in. Wes McKillian played a half, so he's inching back up in minutes. You could see him playing another start. Tyler
MMA
Adams
again.
rested.
MMA again.
Musa
Yeah.
was rested. Adams was rested. Why wouldn't you see MMA
so-
and the front three with Haji Wright?
And I understand the infatuation with Luka de la Torre, and I understand that Brendan Aronson played a good midfield, which was it, the Morocco game? And I understand that, Gio Reyna is out there somewhere as like the legend who's going to come in, the ringer is going to come in late, and there's
I've
certain
heard of that
questions
guy.
advice. But I do like the idea of trying to get as many reps as possible with a group works. Now, I had some discussions after the match and on the show after the friendlies leading up to the Grenada game on Friday, and one of them was Michele Giannone, who does he works for TUDN and Univision, and he does a podcast with Nico Cantor. He thinks, Jared, that the midfield triangle should be flipped against teams that can play through the middle, that are better than what the U.S. has typically played against in CONCACAF. So MMA works with Adams at the base and McKennie and Musa playing higher in his mind. And look, these are tweaks, and these are not fundamental changes, but it's basically where do you put Yunus Musa? If you drop him next to Adams, is that more effective? Now, the question is Weston McKennie the right guy to play in front of those two players, or do you need a Brendan Aronson?
I
Do you
think
need
he had a rough
Giovanni Reyna?
45 minutes playing that role, that exact role. He was he was the highest player of the midfield trio that started the game against Grenada, and I think he struggled to find the right spacing with the strikers and the forwards to be effective. I like McKennie more. I would rather have him closer to Tyler Adams and have Musa, or I don't know. I guess if you're going to play that kind of lineup, that's where Aronson comes in. For me, I would still put Aronson behind Musa, McKennie, and Luka de la Torre in terms of who I'd want starting in midfield.
Really?
I think Brendan
Okay.
Aronson, I think, is a great Christian Pulisic backup. And I just don't see a path to a starting 11 position for him right now, player for him right now, just because I think he's kind of one way. And I don't know in a 3 midfield system that you can have a midfielder that's really one way. You have to have a defensive a component to your game. Not that he doesn't track down runners and everything like that. I just don't know that it's something he's as interested in doing and playing from that far back.
But
in the
again,
midfield.
Again, go back to Morocco. The idea is that if you play a double pivot, not only you do a couple things. One, you let Musa pick the ball up deeper, which he can do a lot of things. We've seen him make those runs. If he eliminates defenders by dribbling guys and gets to the final third and makes a smart decision with laying the ball off or getting rid of it, then we're set up there, right? Now
You're saying
we have
Musa? That's what you're saying?
So I'm saying if you play a double pivot and put Musa closer to Adams, then you give him more of one way, essentially, right?
Isn't
to do what
that
he's
dangerous,
best
though?
at.
If you're going to play McKennie further up and Musa's going to go on a walkabout and he gives up
I
that ball.
understand. You're leaving Tyler Adams on an island. Well, but you're also
That's what
making
makes
sure
me
that.
nervous.
But you're also not pushing both your fullbacks in that situation. So again, if Reggie Cannon's on the right
But
side,
that's why I don't like the double pivot, because that's where our danger is. Our danger is Andy Robinson has been one of the most productive offensive components this team has.
You can send Anthony Robinson and leave Reggie Cannon at home, and he plays. And then again, when they play out of possession, or in possession rather, then Reggie Cannon slips in, and now he's a center back in a 3-back
Now, the
system.
double pivot makes sense to me if you're going to play both Anthony Robinson and Dest, because then you have double coverage. But I don't think Musa's the player for that, because like I said, he's going to go on walkabout, man.
Okay,
He's going to
so-
go forward with the ball.
what we're talking about now is sort of refining the role of every player in specifying, if Musa is playing in a double pivot, he's not going to play as an out-and-out defensive midfielder. He's going to have defensive responsibilities, certainly. But look, you have to account for that.
It's
I don't know
literally
that,
two number sixes, dude. Like, I mean, we can't say that. I mean, that's what double pivot is.
no,
You're
but
playing with
it's
two
not,
sixes.
You can't flatten it out like that because the game doesn't play that way. So again, I'm not saying that it's. I'm not saying that
I
it's
think where I
not-
come down to is I don't like a double pivot in a three-man midfield. That's just me personally. I just don't think that is a good look for us. And
Okay.
also, we haven't needed it to this point. We haven't needed it, so I don't
so-
understand
so-
why we're so. Berhalter seems like pointed to go that direction.
Because you're going to play better teams at the World Cup who are going to have possession. There's also a discussion to be had about how the U.S. has played under Berhalter through qualifying various games, and obviously Morocco and Uruguay are data points in friendlies, which we have to keep in mind. But the U.S. seems to play better when the other team takes the initiative and has the ball.
True.
I mean, the results are better, right? Because
Yeah.
what happens is there
Mexico,
is
yeah.
space available for them to attack when they turn the other team over or when they force a mistake and cut out a pass, right? And this is what you're talking about with El Salvador, right? You want to learn how to do the other thing so
Yeah.
that you can go to the World Cup and be comfortable because your three opponents, like Wales is not going to come after the United States. It's just not going to happen. Now, I don't know if they're going to play 10 men behind the ball. There are varying degrees of how deep they sit and how, whether or not they press at all or where they press, where their line of confrontation is. And the same thing for Iran, which I don't know. England's going to want to come after the U.S. They're going to push numbers forward. That actually could make it a little slightly better for the U.S. in terms of transition.
They couldn't even score against a
attacking.
non-World Cup team this week. I don't know what to tell you, man.
that non-World Cup team that was ranked 7th in the world and also won the European Championship last
I'm
year.
just saying, nothing about what I said was false.
That doesn't true.
I want to go to one thing philosophically for what we're talking about with that double pivot and playing against tougher teams and adjusting to it. Isn't that the exact backward thinking that U.S. fans were trying to get away from and what Greg Berhalter promised us to get away
But
from?
don't-
Let me finish. In terms of pushing the game forward and not playing minimalistic football and
I don't think that this. I don't know. We need to come up with some version, but Bunker
Bradley
Bob.
played a double pivot and people hated him.
I
for
know
it.
Bunker Bob and all of that, and the double and the empty bucket, right? But this is the situation here. It's like you're saying a double pivot in a 3-man midfield isn't a good look, but that's not the empty bucket, right? Because you are playing a midfielder ahead of that double pivot, so it's not like there's nothing there where you're just playing with traditional wingers and a couple of strikers who are messing around the box. You've got somebody in the hole to play. Now, I don't know that we're even in a world where a traditional 10 exists anymore, but that's certainly the first thing people think of, right? That's a 10. Now, maybe it plays differently in the angles and where Pulisic is, because Pulisic is going to drift inside. Robinson's going to be outside of him, and you're playing half spaces and all of those things.
All right,
But
let's separate this from Bob Bradley then. Separate this from Bob Bradley. Is it anti the philosophy of what we were trying to get to if we don't try to play our game against the best teams in the world? Isn't that where we've been trying to go to and where Berhalter's trying to take us?
Okay.
Is where we
Now-
affect the
now-
game.
Okay, so there's a couple things that I want to disagree with you on. Number one is that, and this is what I was talking about here with the player ahead of the double pivot. A double pivot doesn't necessarily mean they're playing defensive reactive soccer, right? It doesn't. It's just a
It means
matter
you're
of.
prepared to.
It means that you have a bigger blanket, I suppose, for your back line at times. But again, you are taking advantage of the skill set that Yunus Musa brings to the table. And Luca de la Torre, if he plays in that role, he's absolutely capable of dribbling players and making those decisions and laying the ball wide or creating some danger by forcing attackers to come after him, or defenders rather to come after him. Right? That's the whole idea. If you can play through the midfield, then you have an advantage when you get to the final third. If you set Yunus Musa up high or higher than you would put him in a double pivot, then he has limited runway to affect the game.
Totally get what you're saying. But to go
Yes.
back to the question I was asking, is it against the philosophy that American fans are prepared and want in terms of where we were to where we want to go and where we want to be to game plan a strategy of not playing our style of game against the better teams?
My first thing is that I think you should always plan for the team you're facing, regardless of. I mean, I think it doesn't necessarily mean you change your lineup completely, but I think you should look for the advantages or cover for your disadvantages depending on your opponent. I don't think you have one approach for everything. Even philosophically, like you think they're going to press England the way that they're going to press Wales or Iran? No, they're not going to do that, right? That's completely insane to press England that way. You'll get ripped apart. So that's an adjustment for that opponent. And so you can have this idea of like, well, we're now a team that wants the ball and plays with the ball and carves teams up with passing. But you need to play the game in front of you and win the game. But
there's a segment of U.S. men's national team fans that would rather play that style than lose.
Yeah, but
than be pragmatic and draw.
No, I don't care. But that's the thing. Like, we're talking, there's a spectrum here. It's not just, oh my God, sit deep, put 8-9 men behind the ball, look for a counter and a set piece and win the game. And that's, we'll never be better than that. We're going to be Greece 04. I'm not looking. There's a lot of room between that and, okay, we're going to try to take the ball at every team or take the ball and go after everybody and be, swashbuckling and all this. These are lots of room between those two things. And we have to find our sweet spot. Now, I think Berhalter is a beneficiary of a more skilled team than the U.S. manager has ever had in the history of the program. Do you agree with that?
Sure.
Do you agree that this team is better with the ball, across 10 players, maybe
across
even
10
11?
Players, yes. Across 10 players, yes. I think there are some better ball managers
I'm not
in the
saying,
past than
I'm not saying that these guys can play with Tab Ramos on that. I'm just saying that
Tab Ramos,
10 players
Reina,
as a collective.
Yeah.
This is the best they've ever been with the ball.
Yeah.
That is something Berhalter is going to want to take advantage of. But it doesn't mean you throw out everything that was America before. And I think there were some difficult times where I was frustrated as hell. Why are we doing this? Why are we banging our head up against a wall? Why aren't we playing a little bit more, playing a little deeper, inviting a little bit of pressure, using speed? And again, to the point, the results against teams that have had more of the ball and taken the game to the United States are better, not dramatically so, but better than when the United States is the aggressor, right? The protagonist, to use a South American term.
Nick was saying the United States is going to the counterattacking philosophy that is traditionally employed to strong success in the past, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's plenty of teams that do well in the World Cup with that philosophy.
Remind me who won the World Cup in 2018, Jared? Who was that? Who won?
I don't even remember who won.
You don't remember who won the World Cup? Sacre bleu. You don't remember who won the World Cup?
France?
France won the World Cup. Did they did they tiki-taka teams to death? Did they play with the ball?
No, but I think this style is more like the Italian style that's won in the past. I think that's probably a better example of that that counter-attacking, like sit defensively first kind of style. I think Italy's known to do that.
Be smart and organized and competent defensively. And the U.S. has some individual issues to cover for, depending on what the lineup looks like. You have to cover for Sergiño Dest not being a great defender.
Yeah.
You have to cover for the fact that Robinson, if he is most dangerous high up the field as an attacking weapon, you're going to cover for that, right? And Tyler Adams is a nice security blanket. He can't do all of it. So if you recognize against good teams, against England on Black Friday, that, hey, we need some extra cover there. Oh, and also we can unleash Yunus Musa from deeper positions. Sign me up.
I think everything that we're talking about right now is geared towards, and it's you can see this evidence in a few things that I'll talk about here. Everything is geared about getting the most out of the fullback position and being able to play Anthony Robinson and Sergiño Dest in a starting lineup against elite teams. That's why we're talking about a double pivot. Because don't forget, Berhalter tinkered pretty heavily with the 3-5-2 to very little success early on for that exact reason as well, to get wingbacks onto the field and get them into those positions. Didn't work. Now we're talking about a double pivot as a secondary way to get both those players on the field with coverage so they can play into the parts of the field that they want to be on. So we're looking, for me, it's shoehorning those two guys into the lineup if it means we have to change the entire midfield. That's how I see it. Do you see it any different than that?
I mean, again, I don't think it's like shoehorning or changing. I think it's just tweaking. That's to me, this is just a
you don't
situation.
Think going to a double pivot is shoehorning? Like, we haven't done it the entire World Cup qualifying, even against Mexico.
I don't think it's as dramatic a change as you're making it out to be. I think look, it is asking one player to play deep.
Asking Musa to play a lot of defense. That's what you're asking.
Again, not necessarily. It's just a matter of what. So,
because what I'm worried about is the cascading effect where all of a sudden we have Tyler Adams and Kellen Acosta starting together. That's what I'm worried about. That's where I'm worried, because that's the most effective duo to pull this off defensively.
Okay.
And I'm worried that's where we're going to end up talking about at some point. I think that's a bridge too far.
But you're dreaming, or not dreaming, you're having a nightmare about something that hasn't happened and we have no real indication is going to happen.
Okay.
Right. I mean, again, this is all I'm saying. This is all I'm saying. That you can play a good style of soccer with a double pivot.
Sure.
A double pivot does not completely turn you into a defensive, regressive team. It doesn't.
I'm worried that we don't have the fan base with enough refinement to tell the difference.
But why do we care what the fan base? Why
Because
is that
I'm
a
tired
thing?
of opening Twitter to a freaking hellstorm every day.
Don't worry about that. Don't worry about that. I mean, look, there are going to be people who don't like what's happening, no matter what's happening. I mean, the joke is
You're
obviously
right.
if we
I
win
need
the
to
World
put a
Cup.
filter in that anyone has used the term expected goals in the last 90 days doesn't show up in my timeline. That's what I need to do.
Fine, then then unfollow me or block me or mute me, whatever you need to do. But
Where's the button?
I do think that they have, that stuff has value, but I don't think it's everything, and I don't think Berhalter does.
You're
either.
right. If they've used it twice in 90 days, then no, that's the rule.
Is that it? It's not a 3 strikes you're out situation. It's only
No,
twice.
2. It's so stupid. It's 2.
2. All right, so we really haven't even addressed the El Salvador. Well, I guess we kind of did. You did say you expect Pulisic to be back in there.
Alex
McKennie-
Roldan not going. Is that indication that there's a weaker team?
Oh, definitely. I haven't looked at. I honestly haven't looked at El Salvador's team. I don't know. But if Alex Roldan's not in there, he was their best player during qualifying.
Agreed.
If he's not in there, then that's obviously a thing. Is that an injury situation?
I'm not sure. With Seattle not playing games right now, I'm not sure what's going on with that. I'm not positive.
I have to look at
Because
this.
it's a FIFA tournament. I mean, they can't not send him. So I'm not sure if they just chose not to or if he's got an injury.
If El Salvador wants Alex Roldan, then Seattle is required to release him. But then again, it could be Hugo Perez looking at this and saying, why ask this guy to come down here for this when, I don't know, whatever he's trying to achieve with this thing. And look, this is the question about what the Nations League is or how we're supposed to feel about it, especially when you're playing these games now and then you're going to take this massive break. We're going to have a World Cup in between and then we're going to get back together in March.
It's fantastic for El Salvador. These games in this tournament is fantastic because El Salvador is going to get a non-qualification window match up against one of the best teams in their region playing one of their best versions of that team.
This is apparently the insight. El Salvador is having issues with the relationship with the FA. So
God, who isn't right now? Jesus.
Canada, El Salvador. Who else is there?
We
are there
finally
other issues?
settled on the women's side, at least.
Well, no, everybody's settled. Everybody's good.
Okay.
I see what you're saying.
The dispute was on the women's side. Yeah.
We've reached some sort of clarification. Since we're here, I mean, this is not necessarily. It's not obviously not a U.S. question or U.S. discussion, but what do you make of the fact that Canada, and look, I don't blame the players for pushing for more if they deserve more, but to do it, I mean, and I guess they have leverage now, right? That's the thing about a strike.
They're ever going to have better leverage.
Yeah.
And not just leverage for this tournament, because not taking advantage of this tournament affects, they're going to have games. The next World Cup's in Canada. This is a ongoing thing. This is an 8-year play. Well, I should say a 4-year play. This is a 4-year play to get the most out of the coverage that this team's going to get in Canada for the first time ever. There's never been more coverage than they're going to get in the next 4 years.
It's wild to me. I don't know why I wouldn't have thought about the possibility or where Canada's been or just the fact their men's team hasn't mattered. So what would be the point? They don't have representation, or they didn't until very recently. They didn't have a lawyer. They wouldn't and pulled off a strike or did a strike over the Panama game and all this without a lawyer. And it's like, man, we've been dealing with our national teams being represented by lawyers since, the 90s? We go way back with this. So it's wild.
I'm interested to see what Hugo Perez does in this game, too. I mean, you and I are both fans of what he's doing down there in El Salvador, and he has the potential to take this to one of those bubble teams that could potentially make a World Cup in the next 4 years, especially when you think of the teams that are going to be out. I mean, with USA, Canada, and Mexico not taking place in qualifying, I think it's going to leave maybe a 1 to 2 team qualification, maybe a 1 secure place, 1 bubble spot. I'm not sure how they're going to do the qualifying the next time around, but El Salvador can threaten for that.
There's 48 teams. There's a good chance
I forgot they're expanding. There's
a good chance that 6 CONCACAF teams will make the tournament. So it'll be a qualification tournament for 3 spots without USA, Canada, and Mexico.
Costa Rica, Panama, and then maybe El Salvador's in that range right there.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the opening. So I'm not a super big fan of the 48-team World Cup. I do think it waters down the tournament, but I get from the notion that hey, El Salvador is going to get a chance to play in a World Cup. Jamaica might get a chance to go back to the World Cup. Panama is going to have a chance to go back to the World Cup again after what happened. So and I don't know. Is that a good thing? Is expanding a good thing? It's got its good parts, and it's like the Nations League. The reason, so we're obviously for the USA, for Mexico, for I guess Canada. You look at the Nations League and you go, God, I'd really rather be playing another Morocco, another Uruguay, another somebody like that, somebody who qualified for the World Cup. But CONCACAF looks at this and goes, if we don't do something like the Nations League, and obviously they're copying UEFA, who did it first, but if we don't do something like the Nations League, then Grenada never plays. Like, never play. Not just like they don't get like a good game. They never play.
Well, I mean, it was a team of college players too. I mean, for the most part, you know.
But that's the thing. Like, we may see that's ridiculous. Why is the U.S. being forced to play Grenada? But that's huge for Grenada, right?
Because
The opportunity.
For every long-term US fan, I think Twelman talked about it on the broadcast. As soon as you hear Grenada, you think Shalry Joseph. There's someone down there that's at Shalry Joseph's level. You know, it's just like there's someone down there. If the Grenada can produce Shalry Joseph, they can produce players. I mean, one of the best players of a generation in MLS for me. You know,
absolutely, yeah, absolutely.
You're talking about all-time top 20 player in MLS, in my opinion.
Probably gets forgotten about by a lot of people. Yeah. That's probably true.
There's not a player at the position on the field, maybe than goalie, that he couldn't play. I love that guy.
Yeah, and he did. He played some forward for the Sounders towards the end, if I remember correctly. They threw him. I think, if I remember correctly, somebody in the chat will tell me. I think Siggy threw him up at forward in a playoff game before Siggy got fired back in the early days. Yeah, man, Shalry Joseph.
Shout out, man.
That was a thing.
Oops.
We have we got a couple minutes here. We got phone calls. What else? What else is on the agenda?
Well,
what
Morgan has a quote right here dealing with the Alex Rodon stuff. I think she's looking up who said it, but this is a quote from someone in the Federation. It looks like, but it says, "To close this chapter, I want to say that Roldan is not coming because he is not happy with what happened before the game against Canada. He prefers to take some more time to digest that, but that is the reason. There is no other. Those are things that don't have to happen, but they did. But we can't do anything anymore. We have to turn the page and move on."
Okay.
So I'm not sure what that's in reference to. That's Hugo Perez saying that. Okay, so that's from the coach.
Yeah.
What is it before Canada that's that problem? I'm not sure what that's referring to.
I think I have a vague recollection, but we'll look at it. Morgan will get that. Morgan will figure that out, and we'll talk about
it's an interesting quote, though. It's player decision. That's player preference, and the coach listening to that player. You know, that's interesting for the best player in their cycle. The kind of personal preference, not want to come play.
Yeah, well, that doesn't obviously for all the progress that El Salvador has made under Hugo Perez. That's obviously a bad look for them, right? Yeah. It's just a bad look to be like, oh yeah, we can't play a Nations League game with a strong squad because the Federation pissed everybody off. But yeah, there's
there was player protest before it. That's right, I remember that now. The players' union was protesting before the Canada game.
Again, there's something. There's always something. Jamaica had a thing a while back. There were some like audio tapes of like the president fighting with players about payments and stuff like that, and about the accommodations on the road and all of that. And I mean, CONCACAF can only go so much in terms of far in terms of forcing the federations to do the right thing. What you hope for is that we don't end up with more. Go ahead. More Jack Warners, I guess.
Yeah. Has San Jose hired a new full-time coach yet? Or are they still doing
no?
interim?
Covello is still the interim coach there.
Wouldn't Hugo Perez be a fantastic hire for that?
Hugo Perez could coach there. He could coach in Charlotte. He could coach in D.C. I think there's a lot of places that Hugo Perez would be fantastic. Yeah, for sure.
I mean, if someone in MLS needs to back up the truck, man. Like, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to prime him away, but, I mean, that's there's something he's doing right there. I mean, it's really special what he's doing down in El Salvador.
It seems. I mean, again,
and listen, if players aren't even going to show up for the team, and the federation's not going to support the players, maybe you can get him out of there on the cheap. I don't know. Maybe he's not being supported.
Yeah, I think he wants to help them reach some heights, and I think obviously his relationship with U.S. Soccer had fallen apart, and I know people still don't quite understand what happened there. He's never really talked about it. Every time I've had him on the show, it's been, I don't want to talk about that. You have to talk to them about what happened. I just want to look forward. El Salvador's got him in. But yeah, John Wolenak. That's true. John Wolenak was hired as the new technical director in San Jose. So I don't know what that
but not
means.
The coach. So they're still the interim coach.
No, yeah. but obviously they're turning over some positions. Shout out to Nicholas Murray.
That's Silver Fox,
yeah.
John Wolenak.
John Wolenak. What do they call him? The Staten Island Pele or something like that? He's got one of those names. He's got one of those names.
Oh, you mean like Medford Messi?
Maradona.
That kind of stupid thing people say?
Staten Island Maradona, I guess. Yeah, like Medford Messi. Yeah, absolutely.
But here's the thing. God, I wish we didn't do this because people in Leeds are rolling their eyes every time someone hears that phrase. Like, it's small time.
It's not, but it's not. because every time like a 16-year-old bursts on the scene at some club in some country, they're like, oh yeah, that's the Czech Messi over there. Oh, he's the Latvian Messi. It happens all the time.
Yeah.
Like it happens all the time, and it's of course it's ridiculous.
Call him the
but
Medford
it's fun.
Messiah, not Medford Messi.
So this is what I was talking about at one point. If Brendan Aronson is the Medford Messi, does that mean Paxton has to live up to the Medford Maradona label? Like Paxton Aronson has to reach those heights to be the
Is he
Medford
also
Maradona?
from Medford?
Brendan Aronson's brother? Are you asking?
Oh, I thought you
brother?
said Paxton Pomacol. When you said Paxton, I was thinking Pomacol. I apologize. Dude, we're in a world now where there's multiple Paxtons.
We do
in the
have
US
multiple
system.
Paxtons.
I'm not ready for that.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, I guess maybe he's meant for Maradona. I'm not sure. Yeah.
Well, it's the Leeds thing. Since you brought it up, Brendan Aronson making the move. There are reports that Tyler Adams might be of interest to Leeds. Makes sense, I guess. And Jesse is lining up Chris Armas to be an assistant coach at Leeds.
Because
So
that
is
went
it-
well at Manchester United with the fans.
Is it too? Well, they had a good run in New York together at Red Bull. Do you think it's too much American in Leeds? Do you think that's just a little? Does Jesse just doing a little too much Americanizing over there?
Maybe, but here's the thing. Maybe there's a segment of English folks that can have the wide breadth to see this. What Americans do well: athleticism, drive, and commitment. That's something we do. We have some of the most elite athletes at every sport that we play. And if Chris Marv is being brought in to bring that level of athleticism and training to practice, I think that maybe you can look the other way, because you gotta respect Americans' commitment to sports and athleticism. Now, if he's putting tactics on the whiteboard, maybe there's gonna be some issues there. But if he's coming in to help with practice and bring that level of commitment,
What I think you're looking for in an assistant is a guy who's going to enact the coach's plan, the head coach's plan, the manager's plan. And Jesse Marsh is absolutely the brain. Like, there's no question that it's Jesse Marsh. And look, if you're looking, Ralph Ragnick, that also kind of made sense. I mean, I understand that an American at Manchester United in that role shocks everybody, and it's ridiculous. And they're writing stories, Chris Armas is the problem at yeah, okay. I understand that was maybe a bridge too far. But in this case, you're reuniting him with somebody he's already worked with.
Yeah.
And using the system that Marsh, there's tweaks here and there, and things have evolved, but using the system that Marsh is known for. You basically, it's like you want a mechanic who knows your car, right? Who specifically, especially if you have a foreign car, you buy a Jeep with some newfangled whatever you got on it. You want somebody who knows the car, not some general mechanic. And I think that's what Chris Armas is.
Electronic limited switch differential. That's what I have.
I don't know.
on
What
it.
did you say? That didn't make any sense. What was that?
Electronic
Try to-
limited shift differential. That's what I have on it.
Electronic limited shift differential.
Slip differential. So it's the
Electronic
part that no one
limited
can get out of China right now
slip.
that's slowing down the entire auto for any 4x4 is being made.
Oh yeah.
The
That's
ELSD for short, if you'd like.
the 4x4 market out there.
You're right. I need a mechanic to understand. I got to get it to Pablo Maurer. I need the only guy that can work on my car.
Sure. Yeah, that's the guy. That's the guy. Soccer fan, soccer writer, incredible soccer writer, and a mechanic.
Master mechanic.
That's so wild. They're like, all of soccer is like, man, my car's got a problem. You know what I should do? I should tweet it Pablo Maurer. That's incredible. Just incredible. Oh, man. I got
He's
some
working on
weird piece.
He's working on a ZX right now. I was like, oh, my dad had that in the 80s. I was sending him some DMs about it. Like, it's such a badass 80s car.
I was like, I got some piece of soccer history that I randomly found in this attic in my grandparents' house. Who do I call about? Oh, Pablo Maurer.
It's kind of cool to have that guy, the rep as being that guy. I mean, it probably sucks your email inbox, but I mean, like that. Anytime something archaic and interesting, he's like the Indiana Jones of U.S. soccer. You know, the what's that job called?
He?
Archaeologist.
Yeah.
Honestly, and he likes going into abandoned places. I mean, the dude will go like to unearth something in an abandoned house about U.S. soccer.
I know. He's got his drone out. He's climbing through caves and abandoned resorts in the Catskills, and
That just
he's
lived his
finding
best
soccer
life.
stuff. And he's got crazy cars, and he's driving all over the place. And yeah, there's a lot going on there in Pablo Maurer. I said this recently after the whole thing. Did I say it on the show? Taking the water fountain to Texas.
Yeah.
That why is there not why is somebody not producing a show with Pablo Maurer, just following him around the country doing soccer
And
stories?
why have they not
Why
taken
not?
my advice about making an interactive experience where you get to dress up in the outfits?
Oh, that's right.
And pose.
Yeah, we did that. You want to go and and dress up like
If I want
Pablo
to wear
Mastroianni.
Pablo Mastroianni's lace shirt, I should be able to.
Sure. Yeah. By the way, we just passed recently because it's that time of year, and normally this is when the World Cup happens. We just passed like anniversaries for stuff, like anniversary of beating Portugal in the 2002 World Cup, anniversary of beating
The Algeria
England
goal was recently.
Belo Horizonte. Yeah, that one too, and various things
Basically,
like
every
that.
summer something happened at the World Cup.
Some 2002, maybe it was the Portugal win over Portugal, but some 2002 anniversary passed, and I used it as an opportunity to tell people to learn about Clint Mathis, because I mean, I know our listenership probably is very Clint Mathis aware, but there are a lot of people who don't know about Clint Mathis and don't think of American soccer being like that kind of guy until this generation.
I'm telling you, Weston McKennie is Clint Mathis energy now.
100%.
Like
100%.
Clint Mathis was the only guy bringing that energy back in 2002.
Well, yeah,
Well,
but I
Lexi
also-
maybe a little bit before it, but like there was more rock star style where it's the cockiness swagger that Clint Mathis had that you know that Weston McKennie has as well. Like I half expected a couple times this season at Juventus when he wasn't getting time and he finally did for him to go over when he had a good game and give a little tap to the wrist to the coach, be like, "Give me my time."
Well, I that's what I don't think Weston is that guy specifically. Like he's not a rub it in your face guy. He's a more like,
Ooh, you know
I
who it is?
did a goal, magic
Who would you
wand."
vote most likely in the U.S. men's national team pool to tap their wrist at a coach?
right now?
Oh, I have a name.
Right now.
Oh,
Hold
I
on,
have
let
a
me think
name.
about this. Oh, I know who it is.
Who?
Yeah. I only think there's one. We already talked about this. There's only one guy with teen movie bad guy energy, and it's Giovanni Reyna. Come on.
I'm gonna give you a different one.
Oh,
I think Matthew
okay.
Hoppe would do that.
Oh yeah, Matthew Hoppe probably would do that.
Because you got to remember, it's a guy that's been sitting on the bench and thinks he should be
Different
on the
level.
field. That's what
Different
that moment
level.
was
Yeah,
with Clint
you're
Mathis
right.
at Hanover. Yeah,
You're
he'd been
right.
sitting on the bench, comes on the field, scores a goal, and be like, "Why aren't you playing me?"
Absolutely, you're right. Wow, I still think Gio is the first candidate, but I understand your logic on Matthew Hoppe.
It was rocking a mohawk in 2002.
Let's shout out the fact, and he didn't call in tonight. He's otherwise engaged. I don't know where he went. Let's shout out the fact that
He's engaged.
Otherwise engaged. Oh, actually,
Gotcha.
speaking of engaged, I'll come to something related to that in a second. But I was going to shout out Allison for yelling JTT, OMFNG, PG-13.
Oh,
is
is she the one that did
JTT.
that?
I believe we've established
OMFPG-13, it's JTT!
that it was Allison who did that.
So
Out in
I love
Austin.
that a bestie saw JTT at a U.S. national team event and actually screamed the drop at him. We've reached peak bestie.
I think we're pretty high on. That's pretty high bestie. That's pretty top level bestie. You mentioned engaged though, and I would have forgotten maybe otherwise. Congratulations to Christian Polanco, the one of the Cooligans who got married today. Congratulations to him. Want to shout out?
Yeah, I think our
Christian.
boy Elvis. I think he actually went to that. From
Did
On
he
the
go out
Volley.
there? Okay.
I think I saw
Well,
him on a
that's-
plane going out there.
He might have done so. He's been working with those guys for a while. So shout out to one of American soccer's funniest guys, and just a good guy. Christian Polanco's a great dude. Congratulations to him and his
I feel like
new
there's
wife,
some side shade towards me
Helene.
there.
There you go. No, what? You're funny in a different kind of way.
Looking?
I didn't say that.
You think I'm funny like a clown? You think I'm funny?
I think you.
Am I here to amuse you?
Okay, I don't have anything else.
Ray Liotta passed away. I got to give a Goodfellas
Oh
reference.
man,
you know?
I can't believe that.
For
I
all the
can't-
young generation out there, if you haven't watched Goodfellas yet, go out there and do yourself a favor and watch Goodfellas.
Yeah. Okay.
Jerry's
Anything
drinking
else?
a tangerine LaCroix tonight to answer Williams' thing. I'm not on the alcohol train tonight.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So, any other business before we get out of here?
One thing. Has the U.S. men's national team barber gone a step too far?
So, there's a guy waving. Do you want to go ahead
Oh.
first?
Sorry, I guess so.
I did want to bring up Pulisic's haircut.
Not
But
just
also
that
Mc-
one. There's a lot of
McKennie went-
braids. There's some twists.
McKennie went
There's
some- yeah,
what else did I
yeah.
see out there? Some high fades. I'm kind of disappointed Andy Robinson went away from the stovepipe because I just like that someone was keeping that alive still.
The stovepipe.
You know, like the kind of like the straight, like the,
Yeah.
the
I think that's a high top. Anyway, I don't want to get into it. Okay. What do we got from Mr. Soup and Sausage down there?
The Sausage King of Chicago.
There he is.
I want to give a big shout out. Felix, who normally calls in, it sounds like he was show cheating on us this week. We got reporting that he was calling into another show talking about U.S. soccer. I remember a couple years ago, Jared gave me grief for being on another podcast and thought I was show cheating, but
That's why now we've assigned you a box in the corner
Yeah.
as punishment. It's like that Superman 2, what was that triangle mirror thing that they're all like assigned to? It's your punishment.
yeah. And then also the World Cup cities are being announced this week.
Oh.
That's right. They are. That's true.
Come on, Rose Bowl.
Well, that
Well, this is SoFi still too small. We established that.
The field, I think, isn't it unmanageable to have the field the right size for it? I mean, the
I
venue would be fantastic.
I heard some
But-
stuff about maybe them trying to fix it, but I actually don't know.
Man, well, in that case, I mean, I'm hoping for the Rose Bowl. So, I mean, I'm not sure. What are you guys hoping for?
Cincinnati is a finalist. I've enjoyed
Does
watching
DC even have an
the-
option? I guess so. Yeah, whatever the Commanders play out. Is that their name these days? Is that what they're?
So no, that's not happening.
Oh,
So that building, I think FedEx is what it's called now. Still, that's a trash dump. It's a terrible place. FIFA did not want anything to do with that stadium. So
can we
what
get
DC
RFK
did,
in the mix?
what DC did was partner with Baltimore. So they're going to use Baltimore Stadium for the games and have like the Fan Fest on the mall in
Is
DC.
Baltimore and DC, are they like the new sister cities, like St. Paul and Minnesota? Like,
I mean, new sister cities. They're an hour apart. It's like
The
they're
Beltway.
tied together. Baltimore.
Do you think
versus
Maryland
DC,
wants to be tied to DC?
looks-
And does
looks
DC want to
down.
be tied to Maryland? Do they want to be tied together?
Man, you're asking some really difficult and deep cultural questions. I don't have
If
time.
only
to
I had a
explain.
guy from the outskirts of DC that could answer.
I
it.
would.
The
get into
DMV, as
it.
they call it.
I would get into it, but it's. I wouldn't do the Marylanders. I wouldn't. You know,
That's
I
what they
wouldn't
call
do
themselves.
them. Marylanders. Yes.
That is
Right.
a mouthful. Marylandites. I don't know what's better. I don't know.
Why are you coming down on that? Marylanders. What's wrong with that?
That's a lot
Marylandonians?
of Marylanders. Marylandonians.
Ohioans. Ohioans
rough
is getting
too.
into some shenanigans recently. If you follow the bestie Slack, some crazy stuff happening. All right, what else we got? What else?
Well, I was going to say, I've enjoyed watching the national pundits basically eliminate Cincinnati already from the being picked.
Why do you think that
To,
is?
to play in the Bengals Stadium, you mean?
Yeah, they're going to play at the Paul Brown Stadium if it gets
Is that
picked.
turf or grass?
They will put in grass. They will renovate the stadium for
That's my
the
biggest
World
thing.
Cup.
I hate that we put grass on top of turf. I want stadiums like that. I do, but I just don't know about
I don't
that
think they would
strategy.
put it on top of the turf. I think they would replace it with turf.
Oh wow, that's a big commitment. But I guess I mean the NFL season's so
We have
over
to.
so early in the year
have to.
that you could still make that happen. You've got like 9 months to make that happen.
Yeah.
Because I mean the Bengals won't be in the playoffs, so they'll be done like what, December?
Seattle would have to do that. There's a couple other places would have
He's
to do
so
that.
funny. Nice shot there.
I mean, you did make the Super Bowl, so you should feel good about your team.
Yeah. But it'll be interesting to see which cities get picked.
Yeah, I think we're talking about. I mean, L.A., New York. You have to be in those two. You got to think. Is Chicago out now? Is that right? The Social Stadium
Chicago's
pull
not
out.
in.
They
Chicago's
pulled out a long time ago. They got out. They got a
Man.
long time ago. They didn't like the deal that FIFA was giving, that was offering them, or wanted them to sign. Same thing, by the way, with Vancouver, who's now back in, but Edmonton was in, and now Edmonton's out. So it looks like it's going to be Toronto, Vancouver. Montreal, I don't think was ever in for some reason. I can't remember why. Yeah, there you go. That's the
What kind
situation.
of world we live in that no one wants an World Cup game?
It's a lot about, so there's a couple of things. One, FIFA makes you pay for all the security. They make you block off like a 2-mile radius around the stadium on game days that only they have access to. There's like just a lot of stuff cities have to go through that make it really hard.
So Frisco, Texas is in play because I hear that's in the middle of nowhere.
I will say this too. Look, I don't want to get into the politics of it, and there's a new golf tour that the Saudis are backing that's causing a lot of people to go crazy right now, and all of that stuff. And obviously, Qatar is going to be a wildly weird World Cup for a lot of reasons. But Ryan Rosenblatt, who's a really good dude and a very good writer, and he's a huge U.S. men's national team fan. You see him on the TV all the
Knower
time.
of fast food.
Incredible fast food stomach on Ryan Rosenblatt. He is starting. I saw him on Twitter mention this. He didn't ask me to say anything. He's starting a maybe it's a Medium or maybe it's one of the Substack or something like that, chronicling, covering the stories that are things like clearing out entire homeless populations to make it look pretty for FIFA and stuff like that. Because that is, again, I don't want to get into the politics of all of this, but there's some bad things that happen around events like this. So just, keep that in mind.
It's true. There's a lot of journalism out there that are paid by large companies owned by papers and outlets are owned by large companies that don't want to tackle those stories sometimes. So, I mean,
Absolutely. There's a whole thing. Again, I'm not going to do the politics, but there's a whole thing about conflicts of interest and people's money and people's, all that stuff. Okay. Any other business before we get out of here? Any other news of note?
I think that's it. I think we're going to do a bonus tonight, yeah? Because
that might be the plan.
There's
We'll check
a
on
lot of sketchy Sundays coming up, guys. We got next week, Father's Day. We got the week after that. I'm on vacation. Week after that, July 3rd, the day before July 4th. So we got to decide what our schedule is going to be coming up. So make sure you're following us on social media as Morgan has put out there. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, all of our outlets, and find out what our schedule is going to be over the next few weeks, because it might move around a little bit.
Absolutely. All right. Patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. All the stuff that Morgan's doing on social media. And that's it, right? We're out of here. Thank you very much. Jared, see you next week. See you next time, whenever that is.
Later, bud.
Bye.
Danger zone!
Duh and or hello.
Damn, dog. Inappropriate.
It was there. Oh, here we go. Saucing them up. Hit him. What?
Go to DEFCON 2.
Get to the chopper! You shut your mouth when you're talking to me.
WNBC. WNBC.
Jay Rodius.